Welcome to this week's Q&A. I've had lots of different questions from a lot of our viewers here in Australia, and I'm going to pick a fairly topical one that many people have asked us over the last couple of weeks. And they're saying, look, have I missed the opportunity to invest in the Australian property market? Now, the reason I say it's a really interesting question is because, as I often tell our viewers, and most of them will know, there is actually no such thing as the Australian property market. There are so many various markets, all the capital city markets, the major regional markets, and many, many more, obviously. But if we look at those major ones and we try and answer this question in a sort of quantitative way, then it's important to look at what's happening in these different markets, because, you know, we've had the latest figures from CoreLogic for the last quarter to February show us that the largest increase in price was 7.2% in Brisbane, 6.4% in Adelaide, but 0.2% in Melbourne and 0.8% in Sydney. So a very large divergence, and it just brings home the point, as I always make people aware, that there is no one single property market. There's no generic market in Australia, and it's really important now, I believe, more so than ever, to do your research and make sure that you know what you're actually looking at, so that you get some further insight, get some granularity into some of the data you might be looking at, or perhaps not looking at, to make sure that you are actually potentially investing in a region that has further scope for growth, whereas some of these regions may now be starting to perhaps feel a pinch of affordability, especially as we see interest rates rise. Others will still have a very large valuation gap to the most expensive markets, such as Sydney and Melbourne. So really, really important stuff. I want everyone to make sure that they actually say, hey, there is no Australian property market. And fortunately, unlike perhaps Hong Kong or Singapore, where you have a very small geographic location, Australia is a very large one. So you're hardly ever going to miss the opportunity to invest somewhere in an Australian property market, and do so successfully, bearing in mind that investment is a long-term procedure, and you should try and look for long-term capital gains, good rental returns, good tax benefits if that's of great importance to you due to personal exertion income. All of those factors are really important, because it's not just how much a property goes up in value. Another really important issue is how much have you actually paid for that along the way? Perhaps nothing at all if you structure it correctly. So I'll leave everyone with that thought. We're here. If you need any advice, just reach out and let us know, and we'll try and assist you. I'm Andrew Unterweger from Wise Guru, and I'll see you again next week with a Q&A question from then. All the very best.